Well, so far we've just looked at overtly tricky ways to try and hone in on f7, such as Scholar's Mate, very popular at under 9 level, and the attempt to do the fried liver, very popular with under 14s. But now we're going to go up to a whole new layer of sophistication with the Ruy Lopez and see how f7 can be a problem there too. And in front of us, we're going to look at a game between Wienink and Jacobsen now, played in the London Olympiad, 1927. And although this is a fairly old game, this trap has caught many players since then. So it's something of great relevance and features some natural moves as well. And one of the things about successfully trapping people, or one of the dangers of falling into traps, is if you do it when you're playing what look like normal moves. And if somebody plays a pretty artificial move against you, you wonder, well, what's he up to now? And your vigilance is raised. In that case, the trap is less likely to succeed than if somebody is playing completely natural moves, but nonetheless finds themselves horribly trapped and just losing. And this is what we see in this game. Well, black after castles goes bishop e7, all very normal. White plays queen e2, slightly unusual alternative to the standard rook e1. And now black plays b5, bishop b3, and goes d6. So all very standard fare so far. Well, now white in this position plays this move, a4. And it contains, although it seems like a normal move, white often plays a4 in the Ruy Lopez, it contains a real stinker of a trap, as we're about to see. What black should do here is the move bishop out to g4, with the idea that if this pawn is actually taken, then black can play this move, attacking the queen, which is pinned, and the knight on f3 is pinned against the queen also. And white should just play the move c3 here, and you get just a normal position. Now, after a4, a very natural reply, one that's often played whenever white plays a4 in the Ruy Lopez, is just to push the pawn on with b4. However, in this situation, it's really bad, and you might want to test yourself now by just pausing the DVD and seeing if you can see white's next move. Well, what white does, in fact, is he plays his queen to c4 with a most unusual fork. He's attacking the knight on c6 and this pawn on f7. And unfortunately for black, that creates immediately devastating consequences. You just can't defend both these things. Now, in this position, black's tried various ways to try and save himself. Some people have tried sacrificing this knight on c6 in order, hopefully, to do something with white's queen, but the queen happens to be quite safe, so that doesn't actually work. They've also tried bringing the king here and letting white take this pawn, but in addition to taking on f7, which is pretty good, white's got other nasty moves like pawn onto a5, with ideas of going bishop a4, and black's king is really horribly positioned on d7. So in this game, black goes queen to d7, and what he's hoping for is that after queen takes f7 check, king d8, is that when white continues his merry way and takes another kingside pawn, he hopes that maybe he will get some sort of attack on the open g file. Well, to be honest, it's a pretty forlorn hope, and I think that black's position is just horrible here. I'll show you how the game went for a few moves. Black played rook to f8, and white played d3. And that's not the only move to have been played in this situation. White played the move a5 in a game between Ninov and Dimitrov from Sofia 1992. So that's a much more recent example of this happening to black. And okay, after d3, then black played knight to a5, which a5 would have prevented. And in another game, then black played his queen to e8. This was played unsuccessfully in a game between Bortnik and Surbis from Sibernik 2007. So there's another game where black got caught in this whole thing. So he plays knight a5, and white's bishop goes to f7, which I guess some people might not have liked. And now black brings his queen to g4, hoping to do something on the king side. And another game between Pachman and Mostafavi from Moscow 1956. Black played his knight to e8 instead. So there are really plenty of examples of black falling into this horrible queen c4. And that is one of the hallmarks of an effective trap. Does it actually trap people? And if it does, then it's something that's well worth attempting. As long as you play good moves. Meanwhile, if you play artificial moves in the hope that your opponent will make a blunder, then it might work at a low level. But the higher the level of your opposition, the less likely it is to succeed. So bishop f7 was played, and now black goes queen g4. And white played his bishop out to g5, and then black played bishop e6. And in fact, there was another game played here, in a game between Gary Lane and Jack Rudd from Torquay 2002. In that game, black played the move h6 instead, and he was also quite unsuccessful. White played h3 and went on to win. So bishop e6 was played in this game, and now white went h3, and then black actually saw nothing better than to play rook takes f7. White took that with his queen, and then black played queen takes g2 check. White took with his king, bishop takes f7, knight bd2. And in this situation, then white is the exchange and a pawn up, and of course he went on to win.